Hello everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Work Tips Pro. This is where we help professionals like you stand out among their peers. My name is Mukhtar. Today we're going to be talking about how to make your presentations more persuasive. Maybe you have a very big presentation that you really care about and you want to do a good job, you want to be convincing. In this video, I'm going to share with you 4 tips. And these 4 tips should help make your presentations more persuasive. Just quickly, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And feel free to share this video so that other people can benefit. Okay, so before we go into the 4 tips, there's something that you need to keep in mind, and that you need to be very clear on the purpose of why you are presenting. And what you can do is to think about these questions. How do you want your audience to feel during your presentation and after your presentation? What will your audience gain by giving you their attention? What's the one thing that your audience should take away from this presentation? What's your audience's main challenge? Answering these questions can ensure that you really connect with your audience and what you say really resonates with them. So try to answer these questions while you prepare for your presentation. Okay, let's go into the 4 tips. The first tip is stature. You need to have credibility with your audience. Why should your audience trust you? And there are several ways to do this. Maybe you can explicitly have this done by having somebody introduce you and your credentials before you speak. Or maybe you have a slide in your presentation that tells your audience why they should listen to you. And you don't have to be the expert on a particular topic. Sometimes just being one step ahead of your audience is okay. Maybe there's a particular topic that you're passionate about and you've spent quite a bit of time researching that topic. You probably know more than your audience. So that puts you in a credible position to talk about that topic. And sometimes you don't need to establish your credibility with your audience because your credibility is already well known. Your reputation precedes you. Everybody knows that you know this topic. And in that case, you don't need to spend time establishing your credibility because it's already established. So remember stature. Remember that your credibility or your reputation needs to be established with your audience in order to be more persuasive. The next tip is structure. When you're preparing for a presentation, at first, do a brain dump. Don't censor yourself. Just jot down the ideas that come to mind. After you do that, after the brain dump, start to organize your thoughts. So you can group ideas together, maybe discard some ideas that don't necessarily contribute to your message, rearrange ideas. Now here's where structure comes into play. You want to arrange your ideas, your points, in such a way that there is a natural flow to your presentation. So for example, if you want to convince your audience about something, instead of making the leap right away, maybe start with small wins, small nudges. Instead of going from A to Z right away, maybe just go from A to D, convince them, and then build upon that, go from D to M, and so on and so forth. So you can consider making small leaps before you get to your destination. So a simple example is you talk about a problem, you talk about possible solutions, and you talk about a recommended solution. If you're struggling with how to organize your speech or your presentation, maybe it doesn't quite matter how you rearrange things, you're not quite sure what will work. One thing that you can do is just give your audience a glimpse of what is to come without giving away your speech. Cover that ground, and when you're done, remind your audience of the ground that you just covered. In essence, what you've done is that at the very beginning of your presentation, you told your audience, we're about to set out on this journey. You showed them the map on how you're going to get to your destination. And then you took your audience with you on that journey. And when you got to your destination, you looked back on the journey that you just took, right? So there's this sense of completeness, accomplishment, satisfaction that goes with completing what you set out to accomplish. Another thing that's important when it comes to structure is your opening and your closing. These are prime real estate in your presentation. Your opening, you probably have your audience's attention the most, and your closing, this is your chance to wrap up with impact. So you want to pay attention to your opening and closing, and I might do another video on how to really maximize the opening and the closing of your presentation. The next tip is statistics or studies. You want to cite sources that are credible to your audience to support your points. You want to appeal to the rational side of your audience because you're making a case. But statistics is not enough by itself. I remember there was a time that I was in a debate. This was some years back. I wanted to really hone my public speaking skills. And in this debate, we had two teams. Each team had two members. I did my speech and I cited a lot of stats. I basically inundated the audience with stats. My partner didn't do that so much. He didn't give a lot of statistics the way that I did. And I noticed that he was more effective with the audience. And that was because he told stories. The feedback that I got was that stats are good, but they're not everything. And this leads me to the fourth point. Stories. It's not enough to appeal to the rational side of your audience. You also need to appeal to their emotional side. And this is where stories come in. Stories are amazing for connecting with your audience. Stories allow you to connect with your audience at a very deep level. I recall reading one of Daniel Coyle's books, and I'm paraphrasing, and he mentioned when someone gives you a statistic, isolated areas of your brain light up. But when somebody tells you a story, it's like your brain is a city at night with all the night lights. Different areas of your brain are illuminated. So stories are very effective. And one storytelling formula is this. Your story should have a central character. Your story should have a challenge. And your story should have a climax, which is where your central character overcomes the challenge. And then your story should have a conclusion. Basically, what's the point? Why did your central character go through that journey? What's the point of the story? So remember, if you want to make your presentations more persuasive, consider stature, structure, statistics, and stories. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and feel free to share this video so that other people can benefit. See you in the next video.